Welcome back. Ben Carson is under increased scrutiny this week since being tapped as the next Housing and Urban Development Secretary. As questions emerged of whether he's qualified or ever lived in public housing, Carson told an audience at Yale on Thursday his mom kept him and his brother out of public housing to avoid danger. Joining us now is David Stevens, President and CEO of the Mortgage Bankers Association. He's also the former commissioner of the Federal Housing Administration under President Obama. David, thanks for being here. You're amongst one of the leaders here in the housing and mortgage industries to actually congratulate Dr. Carson in his naming. And up until this week, as you know, he insisted he didn't feel like he was qualified. What's your sense? What do you think brings him to the table here as being qualified for this job?
You know, it's interesting if you look back at HUD secretaries going back through the decades, it's actually pretty rare to find someone leading HUD who walks in with housing experience. Secretary Donovan, who I worked for in the Obama administration, had housing experience. I think Jack Kemp is well known, but I really challenge anybody to try to think to past HUD secretaries that actually walked in with that kind of experience. So I don't think that on its own is a disqualifier.
What do you think does qualify him, though?
Well, you want someone who's going to be focused on housing, who's going to have leadership skills, and at least has the ability to pick up this information quickly. I'm going with the view that, we have a new president coming into the White House. He has the ability to pick his cabinet to run these various posts, and barring something outrageous, they're going to get confirmed. Dr. Carson, he's a Medal of Freedom winner. He was chair of neurological surgery, pediatric neurological surgery at Johns Hopkins University, a very complex department. He sits on boards of directors. He's won one of the highest awards given by the NAACP that very few other than Maya Angelou and Martin Luther King and Colin Powell have won this award.
Not a bad group to be amongst, certainly, but you brought up the NAACP here, and so I wanted to just hone on that for a second here, David.
Sure.
Some of the critics, including House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, feel that he's not only not qualified, but they were disturbed by some of the comments he's made in the past about public housing. How would you react to that?
I've heard a lot of comments be made. I did talk to Dr. Carson a couple of days ago. He clearly communicated to me his commitment to help with HUD to lift people out of challenging situations and get them into safe, sustainable housing. I encourage you to keep in mind HUD supports multifamily, single-family, healthcare, nursing homes, and they help provide financing for all of those vehicles and have a lot of grant dollars. Here's at least a guy who grew up. He did grow up in a poor family. He had over 24 brothers and sisters, a mom who gave birth at age 13. So, at least you're walking in with someone who's got the academic skills to at least consume a lot of information. He's got leadership skills that are proven through some of the posts he's had. And so I think this is a chance, give the guy a chance to do the job, because this president is going to pick his cabinet. And we have a history of HUD secretaries, as I said, who have not had experience.
David, you're really saying that look at skills, look at capacity, don't look at experience, at least at this point for this position. What do you think he should do day one? We have communities, which, again, Dr. Carson knows well, like Detroit, like Baltimore, like Ferguson, where housing is a very important issue. What should he do day one to help to fix those important places across our country?
Yeah, I mean, HUD's a very complex agency to run, by the way, so he's coming in with a big task on his hand. But to your point, Richard, we have a lot of housing needs, and you've named some core cities. I'd highlight a couple of things. First, I think he really needs to surround himself with really talented people in the deputy secretary roles and the assistant secretary roles that are going to have to go through confirmation, because it's that leadership team that allows him to be most effective. Second, I think he's got to have a clear vision for HUD that has to be stated. To your point, he's coming in without a lot of experience, but he is coming with leadership, and I think uniting the building, the over 3,000 employees at HUD, to focus on the right outcomes. And third, I think we need to give confidence to lenders and realtors to begin thinking about access to credit concerns, particularly in areas where credit is very tight. And Detroit is a perfect example of that. But I'd even go one step further. Think of Flint, where you have intersections between health and housing affecting communities. I'm hoping that a Dr. Carson can bring his medical skills and his experience growing up in a poor family and at least apply those resources at HUD to focus on these communities in need. And he has an opportunity to do so. So again, I'm on this, give this guy a chance to take his academic ability and his other leadership roles he's had in the past and try to focus HUD in a right direction.
It's complex times in the housing market, no doubt. I can't thank you enough, David Stevens, for stopping by on this Saturday. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Richard.